everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Angeline and I am the owner of Angelic Creations. So welcome to another Sew Sundays. Today we will be sewing a book cover. So let's get right into the materials that you will need to create your project. Okay, so I have a total of 6 pieces that I've already cut out, and these measurements are 11.5 by 8.5. Okay, so you should have a total of 6 pieces. You want 2 of your inner pieces, 2 of your outer pieces, and 2 of your protector pieces. So I've seen people use, I believe it's called fusible felt, but I do not have any of that. I do have some fleece. So that's exactly what I'm using. So with the fleece that I purchased, it does not have the glue adhesive on either side. So I'll have to sew this all together. And that's cool. That's cool as well. I will definitely look for some fusible fleece in the future, but for right now I'm using fleece. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is you want to lay down all 3 of your pieces. The first one that I laid down was my fleece. Second piece is my outer fabric, and the third piece is my inner fabric. I also want to create like a little snap so that it can close here. So I have this little strip fabric that I created. I believe the measurements are 2 by 3.5. Yes, 2 by 3.5. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to sew this piece here. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew on both sides and at the top, but we're going to leave the bottom open so we can turn it right side out. And for this piece, we are just going to sew a straight stitch going across just the top for this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and head to the sewing machine. Okay, so I've already sewn my closure piece here. I found the center of my bag and I placed this right in the middle. Raw sides facing each other, like so. So I've already tacked it down, and it's better if you have your fleece on top sewn versus at the bottom so that it can move better underneath the sewing machine. Okay, so as I stated before, we will be creating a straight stitch going straight across. So we're going to place it right underneath our presser foot. I'm going to place the presser foot down, and we're going to continue to sew straight across. And I'm just using the guide here for my presser foot, and that's about 1/2 of an inch, I would say, yeah, away from the edge. So go ahead and take your time. You're going to forward stitch, and then you're also going to back stitch, and you're going to go all the way down to the end. Take your time. So once you have created a straight stitch on the top, you should have something that looks like this. And as you can see, I did go over this part right here because this is where our little snap is going to go. I went over this part a couple times, as you can see the difference. It's kind of like bolded versus the straight line here. And the next step will be to cut off any remaining fabric around the sewing part here. So we're going to cut around, or cut any of the excess pieces rather, I'm sorry, not cut around. So any of this extra bulkiness that we don't need, we can cut that off. And of course the other piece looks the same. I've already sewn the top portion of this one as well. And we can just cut off all of the extra fabric. Okay, the next step you want to do is we want to put our pieces right sides facing each other. So I have my first layer down, and I'm just going to place my second piece here. I'm going to place that down, and what I'm going to make sure is that my seams here are facing each other, right sides facing each other. So this seam here is meeting up with the same seam, and I'm going to just place a pin there. And I'm going to continue this until I get all of my pins around the whole project. So once you have your pins placed on your project, you are now ready to sew. So want to show you how I position my pins. So I position my pins to where I wouldn't have to remove them when I begin to sew. So I kept all of this space right here open so that it's a continuous sew and I do not have to remove my pins. Now at the bottom, so that we can turn our fabric right side out, at first I did have a 2-inch gap here, but I have to remember that the fleece is a bit more bulkier, so I did make it 3 inches wide. So this portion right here, I am not going to sew down here because this will be where we turn our fabrics right side out. Okay, so now we're ready to head over to the sewing machine and sew. So I have my fabric already positioned underneath my presser foot. So we're going to create a straight stitch going down. And as always, I am just using the guide of my presser foot with the width of how far apart I want to start sewing, where I want to start sewing, sorry. And then you're going to back stitch. Now once you get here, you want to place your presser foot up and you want to turn your fabric around. So you do not have to take up your needle, so you're just going to do a turn. Okay, so I have removed all of my pins and now you should have something that looks like this. I just snipped off the corners from all 4 sides, and yes, I left open the gap here so that I can turn my fabric right side out. So now what I can do is I can actually put my whole hand in here, I believe. Oh yeah. So I'm going to put my whole hand inside, and what I want to focus on is my corners. I want to make sure that these are poking through. So I'm going to place my finger here. I'm going to push it down inward, and I have my other hand in the inside, of course, to grab it from the inside. Okay, so I have that one, and I'm going to pull my second one. Okay, and I'm going to just pull them both out at the same time. Okay. So now both of them have been pulled through, corners have been checked. And I'm just gonna flatten it out here. I am going to use my iron in a second. But before I do that, I want to close up the opening here. So I want to make sure that my corners are out on this one as well. And you can use some type of tool or something if you prefer. So I want to close up that gap. It's the inside, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just going to create a straight stitch, closing up this hole here. I'm going to create a forward stitch, and then we're going to back stitch. And we're just going to continue to sew until we get the hole closed completely. And we're going to also back stitch once we get to the end on this side as well. Okay. Let's cut off our threads for this part. Move that to the side, and now we have something that looks like this. Perfect. So now we're going to place this in the inside, flatten that out, okay. Now you can stop here if you would like before we put on our snap, I should say. So after we put the snap on, you can just leave it like that. So after I put the snap on, you can just leave it like it is. But I'm actually going to create a top stitch here so that it doesn't move up. As you can see, like it's kind of like rolling over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my iron, and I'm going to iron this down so that the inside is not showing. So I'm going to grab my iron, and I'm going to iron it down. Okay, so I have ironed down my fabric like so, and I place my wonder clips here so that they are placed in position to hold my pieces together. And I'm going to remove my tray so that my fabric can fit perfectly around the sewing machine base here. So I'm going to lift my presser foot up, place it down, and I'm placing it down to where the guide, to where my presser foot ends. So that is the length that I am going for. And the top stitch is exactly what it's called, top stitch. So we are stitching on top of the fabric for a more clingy, professional look. So we're going to go forward, of course, and then we're going to back stitch, and we're just going to continue to sew until we get all the way around. So once you have completed your top stitch, you should have something that looks like this. And now we're going to add our snaps. So you want to get your tools that you need to place your snaps. So I'm going to find the center of my closure piece here. I'm going to mark a little indentation where I would like to place the snap. Okay, so we're going to place our first piece on, which is our flat piece. And now we're going to grab either our male snap or female snap, doesn't matter which one. You're going to grab your tool here, and you're just going to press down firmly. Okay, so that part has been placed. And now what we want to do is we want to then find our second spot where we would like to place our second closure piece. So I have the little center here, and I'm just going to place my little tool inside to create the hole. And now we're going to place our other flat piece, but we're going to place that one in the inside. Bring that through the fabric, and now we're going to place our last piece on here. Repeating the same steps with our closure, our snap holder. Press down firmly, release, and now you have both of your pieces on, and just like that you have a book holder with the handle. Now, how I determined how big I wanted to place, how big I wanted to make my bag, I just went according to the books that I already had in my stash. And typically I have like these small little books here. So that's why I chose this size. Now, if you have bigger books, obviously create yours a little bit bigger. So I'm going to create another one where I can put like a composition book inside. But I'm just going to see about how many books I'm able to fit inside of this bag. Okay, so this is the third one. Cool. And this is the fourth one. Perfect. Okay. So this is what we have so far. This is a total of 4 books in the inside. And we're still able to place our snap around. So this is a completed project. It turned out really, really cute and exactly how I expected it to turn out. Matter of fact, even better. And guess what? This was my first time creating this project. Can you all believe it? So if I can do it, you all can do it too. I am a beginner still, as I always state. These are beginner friendly. Just step by step and just take your time, okay? As always, if you attempt this project, please tag me. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you love the video, make sure you share with your family and friends. Now take that sewing machine out that box and create something beautiful. I'm also thinking about personalizing, maybe putting like some pink glitter vinyl on top, but I'll decide that later. And if I do, I'll make sure I post a picture. Until next time, bye.